Hello all and welcome to the No Good Sports Show. I'm Saad.
I'm Nasser.
And I'm Abdullah.
And today we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs that start today. Hello boys, how are y'all doing?
We're doing good.
I'm doing great, but can we just talk about how long we've been waiting for this for? Like we've been craving it, and it's finally here. NBA playoff competitive basketball for the first time in like 400 days, something like that.
Finally, it's back. The matchups are set. The rivalry is set. Let's start off with the East, boys. Is that what we're going to start off with?
Yeah, our playoff predictions, right?
Yep.
Let's go to the East. So we got the Magic up against the
Bucks.
The Bucks, favorites to win probably, and then the Raptors against the Nets. You know, Raptor gang here. That should be a
champions
easy hopefully.
Trying to repeat.
Celtics Sixers should be a good series, and then the Heat and the Pacers. TJ Warren
versus Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Buckets.
Okay, so let's start off with the 1 versus 8 seed, the Milwaukee Bucks versus Orlando Magic. I think that's the classic 1 versus 8 clean sweep. Bucks are just too much for the Magic to handle. Their best player, Nikola Vucevic, averages 19 points per game. He's unathletic. He's overpaid. He has weak defense. There's no way in hell he's going to be able to guard Giannis and Brook Lopez. Their starting point guard is DJ Augustine, arguably the worst starting point guard in the league. Their coach, Steve Clifford, he's average at best. They had a losing record and they're in the playoffs. I have zero respect for this organization. Bucks should clean sweep. Giannis, Eric Bledsoe, Chris Middleton will have a field days for 4 days. For 4 games, and Bucks in 4. Do I go on to my next one?
Yeah, just go on to all.
So Raptors versus Nets. I have the Raptors losing game 1 probably in classic Raptors fashion, but the team chemistry and coaching and the system of the Raptors, and they have a championship under their belt. It'll just be too much for the young Nets led by Karis LeVert to handle, and it'd definitely be a different story next year when they'll have Dinwiddie back, they'll have Kyrie back, they'll have KD back, they'll have DeAndre Jordan back. They'll have a better coach, I believe, because they switched coaches mid-year, so they'll have more chemistry next year. So this matchup next year would definitely be a problem, but this year I think it should be a quick first round. Quick series, but next year, Nets definitely have a bright future. Celtics versus Philly. Philly, they're definitely injured. They've lost Ben Simmons, which is huge. Ben Simmons gets a lot of hate, but I think he's truly underrated. If he gets a shot, he's LeBron level. He's just so athletic. If he gets a shot, I think that's true. But he had a major, but he got a major injury. He's not there. Shake Milton, I don't think he can replace him. But what Philly do have is Al Horford and Celtics, which are two of the best big men. Even though Al Horford's had a bad season, he's still one of the best big men in the league. Joel Embiid, he's having a great season. He's a bit unfit, but he's still one of the best centers in the league.
Is, to be fair.
And if you look at the Celtics team, what they don't have is centers. So Philly's just looking to dominate in the post, but I still do think that the Celtics system and their smaller stars will be too much for Philly to handle. So Celtics in 6. This could be a upset, though. If there's going to be an upset in the East, I believe it's going to be the Celtics versus Philly, and it'd be amazing because the Raptors going after
Simmons. There's no Simmons.
They have 2 great big men, and Celtics have Daniel Tice as their big man, and Enes Kanter, who comes out the bench. And then for the Heat series, it's going to be my favorite series to watch. This is the most anticipated first round matchup. There's huge rivalries between TJ Warren and Jimmy Butler, but Indiana are just missing too many people. Victor Oladipo is not back to full strength, and their best player, Domantas Sabonis, is injured. There's always Malcolm Brogdon, but I have no idea what's up with him. But I think they're fully healthy right now. If their shooters can shoot, Heat in 7.
All right. So Abdullah's going with a straight 4, 5, 6, 7. Saad, your turn now.
Yeah, I also almost have the same. Bucks in 4. Should be very easy for them to win this series. Just the team that they have, Giannis, Middleton, I think Magic haven't got anything in the tank. Raptors in 5. Like Abdullah said, we have to lose one game. And I was actually looking at the fact that Raptors have only won game 1 in round 1 once in their playoff history.
Man, that's crazy.
So, I mean, that is absolutely crazy. That's unbelievable. So, we're about to lose one game. Would it be the worst thing if we lose game 1? Because then we'll be able to build momentum by winning 4 straight and going into the next series.
Or we can build momentum by just winning 4 in a row. That also be ideal.
We could, but I think there's always one game that we have to drop in the first round. In the next series we have Celtics in 6 over the Sixers. I actually believe the Sixers can win this series, but it all depends on Joel Embiid. He even last year in the playoffs was unhealthy, wasn't fit. If he can stay fit for the 7 games, they might win in 6. They might not even go to 7 because Joel Embiid is that type of center where he can change games. Mm-hmm. The Celtics don't have anything to guard him. They're going to have to double him in the post. And Embiid he's going to have to hit his shots, and he has to hope that players like Shake Milton, who's very good from 3, hits his shots in the playoffs. Tobias Harris hits his shots. Matisse Thybulle, Cork Mars, those players hit their shots because they're going to have shots in this series.
Thybulle doesn't score. Tybulle's only there to defend, bro.
But he can score too. He can do his bits.
Well, the playoffs,
he's a below average scorer.
I'm not saying he's a great shooter, but I'm saying he's going to have looks and he's going to have to hit them because Joel Embiid is going to get doubled in the post, and he's going to have to count on.
But if you have an open shot, if you have an open shot, you should be hitting it. It's not about
that doesn't happen.
Sixers aren't hitting them this year. Many of the times they have to pass out to Ben Simmons, who never shoots a 3. So with that out of the equation and someone like Shake Milton, who's actually very, very good from 3, it opens up spacing for Embiid in the post and players like Shake Milton, Tobias Harris, and Cork Mars outside the 3-point range to fire it. And if their shots goes in, I think Sixers can win this series. But at the moment, I've got Celtics in 6 because Kemba Walker, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, really good firepower. So I reckon they'll win in 6. Next series, you can interrupt.
Sorry. I completely forgot, but Matisse Thybulle guarding Kemba Walker, that's obviously going to cause problems for the Celtics bench. For the Celtics.
Yeah, but the thing is, they also got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. It's just not one guy.
Most of their ball handling is done by Kemba Walker, so if you can shut him down, ball movement will be limited.
And we saw in the season, if Kemba is shut down, Celtics sometimes do struggle getting the ball forward. So I think it'll be an interesting series. Celtics at the moment I have in 6, and then I also have the Heat in 6. Big rivalry between T.J. Warren and Jimmy Butler, but I just believe Indiana aren't fit at the moment. Victor Oladipo, we're not really sure what his case is at the moment. Sabonis is still injured. Don't know if he's even going to make appearance in the playoffs.
No, he's not playing in the bubble.
Yeah, so I mean, it's very unlikely that can win the series unless T.J. Warren does what he's been doing in the bubble, scoring 30 points a game, 37 points a game. If he can do that for 4 games and somehow they win the series, big up T.J. Warren. But at the moment, I've got Jimmy Butler and the Heat winning in 6.
Yeah. And sorry to interrupt. I watched a bit of T.J. Warren highlights, in the games where he scored 30, he scored 50. Most of his points were off right off the pick. He'd shoot a 3 or floaters. I don't want to say those are fluke, but those are definitely defendable. If you compare KD's or Kyrie's 50-point games, they'd have these crazy moves which are unguardable. But TJ Warren, I don't want to say it was a fluke because it was multiple games, but his ways of scoring were a lot more basic compared to the superstars of the league. And all we know is NBA defenses are able to adapt to him.
When it doesn't look like he should be putting up.
Can you repeat that?
But the thing is, he gets the job done.
Yeah,
you've seen Pascal Siakam throughout the season as well. He's not the prettiest player. He doesn't make the flashiest plays. Yeah, he'll have a spin move. But other than that, there's no, he'll back in defender, do something. It's not the prettiest plays, but he gets the job done. TJ Warren, I think his shot's just falling right now. And the most important thing, I guess, is confidence. He's got the confidence and it's falling. But I just have an issue. If that doesn't happen one game and he loses it, what's going to happen next? Because The last game they
It
played
didn't
against the Heat, he
happen.
only dropped like 14 or 15, something
Yeah.
like that.
Against the Heat,
12
I
in the
think
first half.
he
Yeah,
dropped
12 in the first half. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're not scoring.
I
in the
think-
second half.
I have the same
I
thing
think-
as you guys. I take the Bucks in 4. Like, you know, clean sweep. Giannis is too good. MVP of the season, no doubt about it. Raps in 5 because, you know, we have to lose a game somewhere. It's not always a perfect story. I mean, Nets are good, but Karis LeVert cannot carry himself with 4 other bench warmers because none of them are
Karis
pretty
LeVert
much
cannot
starters.
carry. Period. He's not that type of player.
Yeah.
Well, he
yeah.
almost carried against Portland. You know, it's all him. And
Right.
Celtics in 6, just because I don't think 76ers have the firepower. They just been struggling all season, and they just haven't played to the 76ers potential. If they do now, but they don't have Simmons, so maybe it might be a different scenery in this playoffs. But they're a completely different team than we've seen the entire season without Simmons. But you're playing another shooter at point guard and Shake Milton in a way. So it might have some floor spacing, and then it might cause Celtics some issues because obviously the length and the height that the 76ers have is tremendous in all 5 positions when Sims is there. So even 4 positions, they're still pretty well guarded and they're pretty well defensively. But I don't think the Celtics should have too much issue because they can find buckets. I think they have 3 guys to go to, 3.5 if you count Gordon Hayward on a day. But yeah, Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, they're just too good. And the Heat, I just think the Heat defense it's just TJ Warren. There's not much too much other. Brogdon's not having a great time in the bubble, and
Miles
yeah,
Turner, he's a great defender. But
he is a great defender. But Jimmy Butler is also a great defender. He's got locked out TJ Warren, and I think Butler's one of those players. You know, when the grit's on and he's in the mood, you know, playoffs time come, Jimmy Butler turns it up a notch, and I just feel like he's just going to be able to do it this time.
definitely agree.
Yep. But I think most of this series, apart from Magic and Bucks, well, I think that was going to be a clean sweep. In the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat series, both of them, whoever wins game 1 is going to have the upper hand. If Sixers win game 1, the pressure's on Celtics to come back. If the Pacers win game 1 against the Heat, the pressure's on the Heat, especially if the shooters for the Heat have a bad night, because Tyler Herro has not had the greatest time in the bubble. He's had some decent games, but we've known for him come off the bench and splash 15 off the bench with 3-4 threes. If he can't do that in the playoffs, in the pressure, then they might be in a bit of trouble because they rely a lot on their shooters.
Yeah, I think moving on from the East, we've also got the West, and we've got the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Portland Trailblazers, and Dame, who has come bubble MVP at the moment. Is it going to be Dame time? We also got the Clippers going up against the Mavs. Mavs putting up one of the best offensive ratings ever with Porzingis and Doncic. I think people haven't realized how great Doncic has been in the bubble. He's almost averaging 33 points a game, and it's just gone unnoticed in a way because of how well the Suns have played, and it's just become Doncic's. You're expecting that from Doncic, not 33 points, but you're expecting quite a high number of points because of how good he is offensively. And obviously the Denver Nuggets, who were last year first seed in the West, this time have gone to 3rd. But they've also got some brilliant players that we saw in the bubble, Bobo and Michael Porter Jr., who they finally seem to unleash. Utah, obviously, with the same core, just no Bogdanovich this time, who's injured throughout the season. But still, Mitchell and Gobert were the main guys. Conley struggling for form at the moment. And then you've got the Houston Rockets, James Harden, and their small ball against the wit of Chris Paul and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And obviously they have a big man in Steven Adams who can cause a lot of trouble. But Sadi, we'll start with you this time. What do you think? What's going to happen in the West?
So the first one is going to surprise everyone. I have Blazers in 6.
Oh, wow.
I am a firm believer of Dame time, especially in round 1, where he does everything a man could do in round 1. He might drop 50 in game 1, 60 in game 2, 50 in game 3. He could do anything in round 1. Round 1s are built for players like Damian Lillard, especially off the form he came at the end of the season, where he hit, I think, 154 points in the last 3 seeding games. Like, unbelievable form. And then CJ McCollum against Memphis, the way he was hitting his shots at the end. I mean, that backcourt is looking very strong at the moment. And you have to look at the Lakers. They had a very, very poor record in the bubble. Anthony Davis couldn't get going at all. LeBron James had a couple of good games here and there, but they struggled to beat. Even when they beat the Denver Nuggets, they had their main players starting, and the Nuggets had Bobo and their bench warmers. Like, they didn't have any of their starters, and they just won thanks to a Kuzma 3. And again, I don't believe in Kuzma as much as people do. I just don't see him being a player in the playoffs to shine that people say he is. So I just don't believe in the Lakers. So that's why I've got Blazers in 6. It could be Blazers in 7. But if Lakers win the series, at the end of the day, I won't be shocked because it's LeBron. But at the moment, I've got Blazers in 6. Next, I have the Clippers in 6. Like you said, Doncic and Porzingis have been amazing in the bubble. Even regular season, they were really good. But I just believe Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Lou Will, Patrick Beverly, their whole team is so stacked. Even Montrezl Harrell at one point he's going to play. Even Marcus Morris. They got so many players. Their depth is insane, and they don't even need all their players to be firing. If Kawhi Leonard and Paul George have a night, it's going to be very hard for the Mavericks to stop them. So I'd say Clippers in 6 because I do believe Doncic and Porzingis can win a game, if not 2. So I've got Clippers in 6. And then I got Denver in 5. I just believe the Utah, they were a bit stale so far this season. They're just not as good as Denver, I believe, especially when Denver have shown players like Michael Porter Jr. is really shining through at the moment. They got bench depth as well, and you always know that Jokic and Mitchell are gonna do well in the playoffs. So I got them in 5, and then I've got
you do know Utah's winning by 3, yeah.
Yeah, but
Utah's winning by 3 in game 1.
It is what it is. But I mean, I believe Mitchell and Jokic are going to do well, so that's why I've got them in 5. And then I've got Houston in 5. To be honest, I'm very disappointed in many of the media outlets I'm reading and fan opinions that OKC can win this in 6. OKC might win this in 7. I think that's very disrespectful to the Houston Rockets. I think realistically, everyone needs one part of their head needs to tell that Houston Rockets is a better team than OKC. If OKC wins the series, it's going to be on the back of Billy Donovan with great coaching ideas and Chris Paul leading the team. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to have to be the second piece. And he's going to be a very good second piece. Houston Rockets are a team built for moments where players like James Harden and Russell Westbrook take over. And it's going to be very hard I don't see OKC stopping James Harden or even Russell Westbrook. Because Russell Westbrook is an outstanding point guard. Again, he's hated on way too much in my opinion. He does his job. I get some people say he's a stat pattern, and he might be at sometimes. But when the ball is in his hands and you want him to go do the lane, I don't think anyone on this OKC, not even Steven Adams, can stop him. So I've got Houston Rockets in 5. They could probably dominate the series. I wouldn't be surprised even if they went in 4 because Houston Rockets, I think, is a team this year built for the playoffs. They can beat the OKC, the Thunder. They can beat the Lakers in the second round, and then the toughest matchup for them will probably be the Clippers if they get to that stage. But at the moment, I got them winning the series in 5.
All right, thank you for that. And now Abdullah. Obviously, I think you might not agree with the first one there.
Saad, you're an idiot. Firstly, let's go back to your first one. I got Lakers in 6 in the first round against Trailblazers, and you said that Dame is built for the first round, right? But yet, what you didn't know is the first round you're going against your opponent. It's not like first rounds. Obviously, there's a different vibe to it, but you're always going against someone. And if you look last year when Damian Lillard dominated the first round, I think he was the 3rd seed and the OKC was the 6th seed. That's one thing. Secondly, no one on that team was able to guard Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard destroyed Westbrook. He scored the 35-foot game winner on Paul George. Let's go back to this year against the Lakers. Damian Lillard is great. He feasts off smaller teams. He disappears in the big moments, like against big teams. Let's look yesterday. Let's look last year at Golden State. KD was injured. Steph had a field day with him every single game. They had a huge lead at halftime.
He was injured though. He was injured
for 3 of the games.
The whole series. He did say he was playing through an injury.
But if you look at how bad you cannot give up a 20-point lead and every single game for 3 of the 4 games and blame that on injuries.
Yeah, I think last season they
He,
know some
but
opportunity missed, but I
and
think this year they're
and secondly, they're this year they're only missing Yusuf Nurkic, or I believe someone else
Yusuf
too.
No,
Nurkic
Nurkic
is
is
back.
back. Nurkic
He's
is
back.
Well, yeah,
playing.
your Nurkic is back now, but for most of the season they
Yeah,
were missing Yusuf
Yeah.
Nurkic. They were still unable to make the playoffs before the bubble. They barely snuck in after the bubble when Yusuf Nurkic returned. Then just in the Lakers are just too much for Damian Lillard to handle. LeBron, they have two of the top 5 players in the NBA. They have one of the best benches in the NBA. I believe their bench got
mm,
better. One of the bench,
is it
you can argue,
has
that's right.
yeah,
I
it's your
mean, I mean,
opinion.
I mean, like, I mean,
There's
like, it just got worse. They lost Bradley, man. Like, he's their
they lost
prime
Bradley, but
defender.
I still think they got worse
I mean,
defensively for sure, but they got much better offensively. And plus, their defense was also very strong. They have Dwight Howard coming off the bench. He's not doing as well. He's averaging like what 8 points per game, but he's averaging like 1.5
yeah,
blocks or
but
something
they
like
got
that.
Hassan Whiteside coming the other way, and he's got like 3
Yeah,
blocks a game.
Hassan Whiteside is
He's only blocks.
if you look at his
But
stats,
his defense. We're talking about the defense. You said
yeah.
Dwight Howard's defense.
okay, you're looking at his
Whiteside's coming off for
he is
defense.
still- he is tall. He's like 7'4". He's like no, he's not 7'4". He's like 6'11". But
Yeah.
he's skinny. And I watched the Memphis game and a couple of Portland final games in the bubble. Hassan Whiteside, I just feel like his game is not it's not dynamic. It's a very awkward. He doesn't have like a move. He kind of hopes for the shot to go in. He'll get a block or two, but he is very iffy. Yusuf Nurkic, I love him, but the Lakers are just too much for the Trailblazers to handle. I expect it to be a good series, but I would not be surprised if Damian Lillard disappeared in big games because if there's something LeBron can do is dominate the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. The finals, we won't talk about that. But I got Lakers are just too much for the young Trailblazers. And Dame's his prime is clicking. He's in his 30s. He needs to do something quick. I got Lakers in 6. I got the Clippers in 6 against Dallas. Dallas, they're just too young. I love Doncic. He's the face of the league in the future over Zion, but he's just too young. Porzingis, he's like 25. He's also young. I don't know any significant people off the bench for Dallas, like Trey Burke, if you really want, Max Kleber, but Boban Marjanovic. But Clippers, they just have too much star power. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, they have a great shooter, Landry Shamet. They have the 6th man of the year, co-6th man of the year, Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams. Like they're both nominated for it.
Yeah.
Clippers will just have a field day. Rockets in 7 against OKC. This would be if OKC managed to pull this off. This could be one of the greatest redemption stories for Chris Paul after being traded from Rockets last year. He was done dirty, but Rockets, they're just much more mature. They have the best shooting guard in the league, a top 5 player in the league. They have a top 5 point guard in the league in Russell Westbrook. Chris Paul, he's also a top 5 point guard, but the team's just too young around him. His second best player shot SGA. He's in his 2nd year. Delino Gallinari, I just feel like he's not good enough for a 3rd best player against the Rockets. Yeah, but clap your hands, OKC. You surprised everyone. I have tons of respect for them, and they're up and coming in the future for sure. 2-3 years, I have them winning the series. Denver in 7. They are going against the Jazz. Denver, I think they could actually finish this one before, but Jazz, Donovan Mitchell can go off. Rudy Gobert is actually playing quite well, and they were able to resolve the conflict, the Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. So they're playing, the chemistry is back. They're playing their heart out. But Nikola Jokic, he is just a better center, not defensively, only offensively, but he's so much better on offense compared to Rudy Gobert that he's a better player. Denver, Jamal Murray, he can do bits. I believe Gary Harris is injured, but Michael Porter Jr. has emerged. But I think at the end, if Mike Conley plays well, Utah might have a chance, but he has not been playing well this entire season. So I got Denver in 7.
All right, then. So from that, I think this, again, what I will say will cause up a bit of a stir. But I'm also going to go Blazers in 7 at the moment. I just think if you look in the bubble and the
this anti-LeBron propaganda is not okay.
No, it's not about anti-LeBron. It's just LeBron was great in carrying the Cavs in the East when it was against the Pacers and the Raptors. That was not an issue. They didn't have an out and out superstar in their team playing. I just think the Blazers have an out and out superstar in Damian Lillard, and he does have good first rounds. He's not a great as he gets later on, but the first round is where his.
But I don't think he's playing well because it's the first round. I think he plays well because of the people that he's facing.
But I think that him going up against LeBron, like against the Lakers, who honestly would you say would guard Damian Lillard? Because if LeBron starts guarding,
like LeBron's not guarding him for sure. It's always the guard guarding your guard.
Yeah, but like Danny Green, like he might have like one game in the entire playoffs where he'll be able to put 20 points down. But other than that, I don't think Danny Green will be such
but Danny Green's not. You're not playing Danny Green for his offense because he's having a terrible offense, and he'll make the occasional open three still. But you're not playing Danny Green for his offense. You're playing him for his defense because he has.
But Lakers got him for his shooting as well. It wasn't. They didn't just pay him 14 million.
But they haven't been. He hasn't been shooting for this entire season. So the Lakers are not. They're able to adjust. They've been playing without his shooting for the past little bit. And they have other shooters. KCP. Even though he had a terrible start to the season, he's now playing really good.
Are you forgetting? There's Nurkic and McCollum, but Melo's also having a decent season. He's having a decent bubble as well. It's going quietly under the radar, but he's averaging 15 points a game. It's not something you expect from Melo, but the fact that he's realized, I'm not the main guy anymore. I'm not going to have the ball, and he is hitting those corner threes. You've seen in all the games, especially in the clutch. Dame's going to be good in the clutch, but Melo can also do it there. LeBron, I know LeBron is good.
Melo.
I just think, I know that, but I just believe that I think LeBron is if he doesn't win it this year, if LeBron really doesn't win it this year, I think this is maybe his last real opportunity with the Lakers.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I just don't see him getting anywhere better with this team as he gets older. Obviously, he's 35. He's having an immaculate season. If Giannis was not in the league, he would have probably been MVP, but not because of his age, because of the way he played, the stats he put up. But I just believe that because of the supporting cast around him, it's allowed him to do the things he's done in a way with Anthony Davis and stuff. And Davis will also get better, but I don't know if LeBron will keep on getting better. And obviously, Danny Green's shooting's not getting any better. It's his defense. Caruso will improve, but I just don't see I think it'll be the toughest series in this entire playoffs. The best series to watch. Honestly, I don't mind it going to the Lakers either. I just think it'll go the entire way. And it might come down to a few moments in the series where, if this happened, I believe Lakers could have won. If this happened, Blazers could have won. And I just think that's what it'll come down to. Moving on from that, the Clips, I think that's what it'll come down to because they're two great
teams. I think
you
guys are giving too much credit to Blazers. Just remember, they are a team that barely got into the playoffs, 8th seed. They're not like a 3rd seed team who played amazing the entire season. We're judging their entire season based off an 8-game stretch. And Damian Lillard, at the beginning of the season, he still scored 60 points a game. He scored 30 every other night, and they still lost despite that. I just don't want you to
realize
that.
how big of a difference Nurkic makes to that system.
But you're acting like Nurkic is undefendable. Nurkic has the best big man in the league. JaVale McGee is an animal. You have to admit.
I know it's not about Nurkic's offense, it's about Nurkic's defense that brings so much more. But Nurkic's defense brings so much more than his offense would ever bring, or anyone's defense for that.
But it's Lakers have so many other pieces to neutralize him.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna say this: that McGee he's the beast. He'll grab the rebounds. He'll work hard. He's a great hustle player. He works there for the team. Anthony Davis can be stopped. We've seen it this season. Anthony Davis can be stopped by teams that play well against him. I think against the Raptors when we've seen him play, he's not been at his utmost best, but that's against obviously a different team, a different system. I just believe that the Blazers with Nurkic make a huge difference. Without Nurkic, we saw they were having a terrible season. Dame was still putting up points, but they didn't have that interior, that big man that would. Nurkic is their captain defensively in a way. He sets up the Dame is an average defender, Melo's not as great as a defender he probably could have been or was. McCollum's playing through injury, but I don't know. It's going to be a tight series.
How do you explain Nurkic barely? How do you explain Portland barely being able to beat Brooklyn and Memphis if Nurkic is so good defensively? If
I
they
mean,
can't,
playoffs is a different vibe. Playoffs is different. They forget about that.
But Portland were trying just as hard in those two games as they would be tonight.
But here's the thing, that was Portland. Like, you can see that. Yeah, it was maybe weaker teams, but you could see that they had that little bit more than them. Obviously, I think against Lakers, it'd be a different expectation, a different requirement. They'd play a different way. The system of the Lakers the system of the Lakers and those teams are completely different.
So, are you saying that the system is worse for the Lakers compared to those two teams?
No, I think.
No, I'm not saying.
I'm saying
it's more suitable towards the for Portland. Just like Raptors play against some teams, you can tell that when they play Miami, they're having a tougher game because Miami's system defensively is set up much better against the Raptors, against some higher seeded teams in the West. So I'm just saying the system for Portland is a bit better. It'll be a bit better for against the Lakers.
I don't know. You have Jonas Valanciunas, who scored 22 points and a double-double on Yusuf Nurkic. Imagine what Anthony Davis could do. Yusuf Nurkic is an overrated.
The bubble is almost like a new season. The Lakers have been the worst team in the bubble offensively, the worst starting lineup, the least points per game. I think in the bubble out of the regular season games was LeBron, KCP, Anthony Davis, JaVale McGee, and Caruso. I don't remember exactly. I think it was Danny Green or something like that. But that was the worst. Out of 22 teams, you've had the Washington Wizards in their fam, who started the 9th seed, fell down to 11th at one point, and they had a better offensive net rating, a better net rating than those guys. Yeah, okay, they might not have taken that seriously, but you've got to realize the Lakers are struggling. The Lakers are not playing to the best of their abilities either. And that's the only thing I put in this factor.
But Lakers, their shooters had a terrible thing, but the shooters can pick up any. And whenever the shooters have a great day, Lakers have a great day. And you also got to realize Lakers were locked into first seed. The second they won the first game of the season, or the second game of the season in the bubble, the pressure definitely was not on them to perform. And now the pressure is on them to perform. The sky's the limit for them. And Lakers, I got the Lakers winning this series. And before I thought LeBron did. I thought the LeBron hate was overrated. I didn't think there's a lot, but after this, LeBron is one like, wow, can't believe you guys would pick the 8th seed.
I respect LeBron. I just don't think he's having a great time at the moment. If he does get through this, I think he's going to make the Western Conference Finals, and then we might go down to the Clippers. But that's another story. But at the moment, that's another story. But at the moment, if the first 2 games you'll be able to tell, the first quarter you'll be able to tell what team type of Lakers come out. You can say they're shooters if they're shoot, but you said the same thing about Milwaukee last season, where against the Raptors, when they created a ball against Giannis, their shooters couldn't hit the shot.
So but their shooters did hit the shots for the first 2 games, and secondly, Portland did not have the facilities to have the Raptors type effect that Raptors did on Milwaukee.
Yeah, I know. Okay, look. That it's a great idea. Your opinion is brilliant on this, but they're 2 different teams at the end of the day. I just think Damian Lillard, the way he's shooting at the moment, it's immaculate. He was pulling up from the NBA logo at almost half. He is like, if he starts doing that against the Lakers, you're gonna have to straight up guard him full court. And if you start doubling him full court, you're gonna leave either CJ McCollum, Carmelo Anthony, or Nurkic in the paint. Someone will be left open, and it'll be about the Blazers. Can they hit their shots then? And I just backed Melo and McCollum to be able to hit the shots.
I feel like you guys are not giving enough credit to the first seed Lakers with LeBron, AD, Kuzma, KCP, JaVale McGee. They have Dwight Howard off the bench.
We'll see what happens.
See, here's the thing. I'm just going to say, if this happened, if there was no pandemic, and even if Portland crept to the 8th seed, we would be saying, yeah, Lakers all the way, like 5 games, 4 games. But the fact that there was a stopgap in between, and LeBron has not looked like the player that he was before the pandemic. He has been a bit slower compared to what he was before, and it's not about them trying. They have tried Abdullah. They played against the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets had their bench on. We were watching that game together, if you do remember. And the Lakers had their full-on five, and they were not even
over at the end. Don't you remember?
So, yeah, but at the end, you have to remember this was the Denver Nuggets, second, third stringers. It was Bobo. None of their starters were starting. No Jamal Murray, no Nikola Jokic, no Paul Millsap, no Michael Porter Jr., no one. Not even their 6-man, 7-man. It was a lot lower. No Gary. I don't think.
But you're assuming they ran the normal plays they would have ran in the playoffs. They definitely did not. They're definitely having a more chillax game. And if you remember, LeBron took over at the end.
It wasn't a relaxed game. It wasn't a relaxed game. They had to fight for it. If Kuzma didn't hit that, it would have been a pretty different story.
All right, boys. This conversation is going to go on forever. I think let's move on to your next predictions because your shit is mine. You ain't changing yours.
Yeah, I think the Clippers in 6 because just Kawhi is Kawhi. In the playoffs, the Clippers, obviously, they've had an up and down season, injuries for all their players. They haven't really got their core together until the bubble. And it'll be fun to see if they can all stay fit during the playoffs, which I think people do end up playing through injuries and forcing their way through it, like Kawhi did last season. It'll be fun to see how they play as a team. You know, there's only one ball at the end of the day. And you got 3 shooters who can take the last shot. I think Kawhi obviously will be your number one choice, but then you also got Lou Will who can take it. Paul George, I don't think he should take it after what we saw recently.
I don't think he should be defending the last shot either.
I agree with you on that as well. I don't think he should be defending the last shot either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they've got too much firepower. Doncic is good. I think he'll be able to win a few games. But I think the Clippers defense is also really good. You know, it's not going to be easy to just you got Trez in the paint. You got Pat Bev, who's obviously is a really good defender, doesn't give up or anything. And I just think the Clippers just have too much on both ends of the court. Denver in 6. Utah's good, but I just think Utah haven't played to their potential this season. Mike Conley has underperformed and to an insane amount where we don't even know what's up with him. Bogdanovic, who was hitting quite a few clutch shots for them, he's injured and he's missing the bubble as well, and that was a huge factor for Utah. Obviously, next season I think could be better, you know, with Bogdanovic back, maybe find a few trades for Conley, find someone else in the point guard position, a ball handler, someone who can find them assist. I'm not sure exactly what, but that might be their way to go, find someone in place of Conley who can help the team in a way that Conley couldn't. And Houston in 6, I just think small ball. Chris Paul's a great defender, so is SGA, but I just think the Houston Rockets, with their entire lineup, I just don't think it's tough to stop them. You know, if they hit their shots on the day, they can drop for about 130 easily on a night. So it's just about how they play as well.
Well, boys, we all got our opinions in. We disagree a bit, but I mean that's part of sports. Anything else to add on to these?
I think we got a few comments here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sufyan Ali says hi. Hi to you, Sufyan. Thank you for joining us and watching us. We also have Maham Ali saying, while I would love to see the Lakers lose, I don't think Dame can win the whole series. Mom, I think you may be correct.
Yeah, I think she definitely has a point. Dame can't win the whole series, and that's where they're going to rely on CJ McCollum. They're going to rely heavily on Carmelo Anthony. They're going to rely on Yusuf Nurkic. They're going to rely basically the whole team.
They're not reliable, with all due respect.
But if you want to win a playoff series, you can't win it off the back of one player. And we've seen that in the past. You need a whole team to win a series. And if CJ McCollum and Dame and Melo, if them three have a very good series, I think that could be enough to beat the Lakers.
I don't think so, because if those three, you're assuming that Lakers are going to have a bad series, which I don't think they will. In a 4-game series, unless you're Golden State Warriors, LeBron is not going to lose to you. And first round, I think LeBron's definitely going to win. Second, third round, we'll get to that when we get there.
Yeah.
Those are a bit more iffy, but you guys are seriously underrating the King James, and I cannot believe that there would be this much. I don't know if you noticed. I'm shocked that there's this much anti-LeBron thing. Exactly. The Blazers just don't have that team.
We'll see at the end of the first round. We'll see at the first round.
In
If
20
they make
minutes,
it.
in 20 minutes, the Raptors game is starting. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
And I think the Nuggets at the moment are down by 1 point to
Are they? What's the
Utah, and there's about 7:46 left in the fourth quarter. So I think that would also be a great game for everyone to watch. And Salah, I think if you want to wrap it up, we're all is. And your last words? Any last words, Abdullah and Salah?
LeBron James. Oh my God, I can't believe you guys would think this.
Well, you know, even if LeBron wins this series, I've actually told you this personally. I believe the Rockets could beat the Lakers as well. So even if LeBron wins this series, I'm gonna back the Rockets.
You guys are very anti-LeBron. Looking back at it, like there's so many signs that you guys are so against LeBron. Like everything. I don't think I'm
against LeBron. I'm just the Blazers are an underdog story in this situation, and I would rather. I think
I think LeBron. I think Lakers are seriously underdogs. The way everyone and you guys have been talking about them.
They're the first seed. They're expected to win. If they don't win the first round,
but like the way you guys are talking about them, I don't know, man.
I mean, I think this is going to be a great this is going to be a great 1 versus 8 series because
the underdog situation is always a narrative, and the narrative right now from you guys is that LeBron is going to lose. So I think Lakers are definitely an underdog.
I think Lakers are still favorites. Lakers are always going to be
favorites.
I think
with LeBron, your team is never going to be under.
Yeah,
obviously, if you're against like Golden State, you're going to be the underdog. But like LeBron, I don't think he's still the favorites. The pressure is going to be on the Blazers. Can they deliver? But I just think there's also going to be pressure on the Lakers who haven't been playing well, and I think they know that they have not been playing well. So if they win Game 1. And if they win it by 20 or so points, then Lakers will win the series in 5 games or 6 games. Then it won't even go further. But if in the first game it goes tight and they marginally squeak out of the way, I think then the Blazers will just have a good
if Lakers do win this series, I demand an immediate apology from both of you. Is that clear?
I think
apology. I want you guys to admit that LeBron. I want you guys to admit that LeBron is the greatest. No. You said you have LeBron.
I don't think they're gonna win the series though. That's why I put Blazers. So you want us to apologize?
If LeBron and Lakers win the series,
okay.
Assuming LeBron doesn't get like a freak injury and tears ACL or something.
Okay.
If they're all healthy.
We for everyone watching, we will do another one for the second round when the Blazers knock out the Lakers and Abdullah's gonna be proven wrong. So catch us then as well. Nasser, any closing words for you as well?
Yeah, if you guys want us to do another show in between the first round, maybe halfway through, then do let us know in the comments below. And also, if you also have any ideas of anything else we should talk about, do let us know that in the comments below.
Yeah, I'm a soccer expert.
Yeah, obviously, soccer, football, whatever you choose to call it. The Champions League is going on at the moment. We just had a massive embarrassment for Barcelona 8-2 game. If you want us to talk and have a show about soccer, we'd be more than happy to. Just let us know in the comments. But for now, let's hope the Raptors get another banner this year. We go back to back. Hopefully we repeat. And until next time, we'll see you later.
End it.